Hello everyone, I am Conquering History Games, and welcome back after so long to a return to Kaiserreich, or I should say more specifically in this case, Moereich. Let me talk about the circumstances of me doing this campaign, and also maybe music down just a little bit. It's coming in a little loud for me. Okay, so as you all know, late last year, Kaiserreich was updated, and the United States and many of its break-off countries were reworked and redone in amazing ways, and they have also since continued to work on it, particularly in regards to how the Civil War is fought, and they've continued to make it better and better, in my opinion. When that update happened, I did campaigns for the United States, both under MacArthur and having avoided the Civil War. I did a Pacific States of America campaign. I did a Pelly's America campaign under the via the American Union State Path. I did a CSA campaign where I went under Norman Thomas, and I did another one where I basically turned it into, like, I went with the authoritarian path of the CSA under Foster, which incidentally, I remember when I was doing that, I was saying nobody actually talks about the differences between the two of them politically, and you had all these people who were just going, louder for Browder, louder for Browder, louder for Browder! And so because it just became this catchphrase that has nothing behind it, just this brain dead phrase. I remember I've since had people saying, because I'll constantly say I'm going to do this campaign when Kaiserreich updated again, they're saying, hey, this time you should do Foster instead of Browder, when I in fact did do Foster. It's just kind of one of those things. Anyway, so the thing was, my CSA campaign where I was not Foster, the one where I did the songs at the end, even though that was well, let me put it another way. I was unable to finish that campaign before the save files were broken via the updates. And I feel really bad about that. This is... Now, I believe that was the campaign I did that had the least amount of views, but at the same time, I could definitely tell people were the most engaged in it, like in the comment section, I mean. So, I felt really awful that I was not able to finish that. So a long time ago, since then, months ago, I promised that when Kaiserreich updated again, I was going to start the campaign over, and not only was I going to finish it, I am committing to this being a world conquest run. Everything in the world will be a part of the CSA, or will be in a faction of the CSA or a puppet of the CSA, something like that. All right, that is my commitment, and I'm talking about every single freaking country in the world, not just the majors. I'm going to be going after, like, little Uruguay. I'm going to go out to Australia. I'm going to make sure all of Africa, everything will be covered. And I'm going to still do the music at the end of each episode. Alright, another thing, I know that it's been a few minutes, I still haven't started. Another thing is you're probably noticing, Conquering History Games, this doesn't look right. I'm using the Moereich submod because I'm a big fan of their work. I think they do, it's really amazing actually how much art they make and how quickly they do it. In fact, they have a Moereich credit thing here. There's your artist, definitely check them out. And so I figured if I'm going to be doing a world conquest campaign, I'm going to be going into like the 50s and stuff. I'm not going to name names, but there are some portraits, some newer Kaiserreich portraits that I'm not a huge fan of. So I figured let's go with Moereich and get something something different to go on. So yeah, a lot of talking, but just to review, this is going to be a world conquest campaign. Using the Moereich submod, so you guys have something different to look at, and there still will be songs at the end of every episode. Oh, and also, I don't remember if I said this already, but there's not going to be, usually my episodes are 30 minutes each. This one, they're going to probably be all over the place. I'm going to try to make them all at least half an hour, but there might occasionally be some shorter ones. There might also, probably often, I would believe, be ones that are extra long. We'll kind of have to wait and see. So anyway, having said all that, let's actually begin the game, shall we? So, got a new game. There's all the... Oh, is the Commune of France, is this a new portrait? I think this is new, and so is Hoover. Yeah, I think these are both new. Well, we will be playing as the United States, and of course, also I'm going to talk about plenty. I'm going to talk a lot about the characters. You know, the characters. These are historical people. I'm going to talk about who these people are. Although also on that front, we got a nice assist from the Kaiserreich crew on that, which I'll talk about when we get in there. So, custom game rules. I'm not going to change any, but yeah, I was just double checking. But yeah, there is no, making people go certain ways. Oh well, down the line, that could be fun. Anyway, we will get started now. This first episode, for example, is probably going to be longer than half an hour, because I just want us to get up at least to the election, but probably all the way up to the actual Civil War starting. So that way, in the next episode, we can kind of jump into that. The Kaiserreich team proudly present Kaiserreich Alpha version 0.8.5, Return of the Kaiser for Hearts of Iron 4. For months now, our team has worked from every corner of the world to bring this mod to you. We hope you will enjoy playing it as much as we did making it. You should also be aware that the mod is designed with the assumption that the player will always annex all possible states and peace treaties. You should make sure to do that. We'd also like to remind you this is still alpha, so expect bugs, crashes, and various headaches. If, when you encounter any of these, please report them to the GitHub bug tracker. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask us. Please check the in-game FAQ first. I'm reading that because a lot of you people don't. Alright, thank you, Kaiserreich team. Options to change the frequency of news events and endonym, exonym, state, and VP namestates have been moved to the Game Rules menu, introduced in 1.6. Thanks for the information. Alright, this is it. The United States of America. Not for long. Well, it might be kind of for long. The United States has been gripped by Civil War's coming. You all should know what this is by now. Let's get a focus set here. And we're just going to be 5-speeding it right through this early part of the game. Let me just set some stuff up here initially. And then we will get to it. Okay, we want electronic engineering, because remember, everything that is researched before the war starts is what we will be able to start with down the line. Obviously, it's very good to have that, certain things. Should I do a land doctrine? And I'm pretty sure I'm doing mobile warfare. I was thinking about mass assault. But, you know what? Let's wait on that. We can come back to that later. What we're going to do instead is let's get ourselves some construction. And as for our dockyards, this doesn't really matter. We'll just build tons of convoys for now. Okay, and we're off to the races. Get a bit of rubber in my life. You know, it's also good to... I was considering just jumping ahead to when the Civil War starts, but this way... Wow, is that new? Huh. Oh, wow, yeah, they've changed the event. Check that out. Great work, Moereich team, as always. So we're gonna just throw you guys out here somewhere. It doesn't really matter. Let's get you like in the middle of the country. Oh, whoops. So let me show you some of the cool stuff that we've got going on here. If you hover over a lot of these people, well, pretty much all the American generals and field marshals, you get some military career stuff. So I'm going to try to, once I'm over at the CSA, read like one of these every, whoa. That's gnarly, that art. Hover over like one of these every episode and talk about the generals and who they are and stuff like that. So for example, Dwight D. Eisenhower, born in Texas, best state. Dwight David Ike Eisenhower, a fan of military history since a young age, applied for both West Point and Annapolis in 1910, being accepted in the former after the highest-ranking candidate failed in the physical requirement in 1911. He graduated in 1915 along with Omar Bradley and was almost discharged due to a leg injury. But West Point's chief... Good stuff. That was an enormous weapon. But West Point's chief medical officer interceded with the War Department and obtained a commission for him. Eisenhower would be posted with the 19th Infantry Regiment in the Mexican border and reached the rank of captain in 1917. He was transferred to Fort Benning in late 1918, where he remained training with the Camp Polk Tank School until the 1919 Mortar Transport Corps convoy. Ike was promoted to major in 1920. His interest in armored warfare only grew and quickly joined Patton's and Van Horsten Van Voorhist in their request of increased funding for a mechanization program. In 1924, he was sent to Panama, where he served under General Fox Connor, who decided to tutor Ike into philosophy, military history, and military theory, and was selected in 1925 for the command in General Staff College, graduating first in a class of 245 officers. Connor would help Ike to get into the War College, becoming one of the youngest students of the academy and receiving the praise of General Pershing himself. After his graduation, he was assigned to the Army War College and then served as executive officer to Major General George Van Horn Mosley, Assistant Secretary of War from 1929 to 1933. Since then, he has served as chief military aide of General Douglas MacArthur, accompanying him to the Philippines, where he served as assistant military advisor to the Philippine government. Since then, he has become MacArthur's undisputed second-command, and while their personalities tend to clash often, many claim that their skills complement each other. Black Monday has started. But you see, there's a whole lot of detail going on. Like, Edwin Harding, I think, has one. Or some are longer than others. The anarchists have seized control in France. That's a good start, actually, because we are going to be going radical socialist. That's terrific. So now we don't have to kick France out of the faction. Crime spree sweeps the nation. Coalition ticket. We will say a coalition would debase ourselves because we want to create a situation that's going to make the radical socialists and whatnot stronger. Alright, so we got the Air Force done. Let's expand the Wasps. Great unique art going on here. So you got the chick there. Where else is there? Is it just that one? I think it's only ones where there's portrait. Yeah, expand the waves down here. Uh-oh, we got some paramilitary forming, and they're being fueled by burgers. The AFP have called their group the Minutemen, while the SPA's Red Guard. Seen patrolling their strongholds and party rallies, these well-armed and equipped paramilitary units have already engaged in scattered, though extremely violent, conflicts. I'm going to probably just read stuff that's directly relevant to the CSA. Reed and Long have rallied hard against the corrupt banking and political sectors, which they blame for allowing the crash to happen. This is just not our year. Great Depression's getting worse. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the rest of the world. Oh, they are restoring the suspended constitution. So they're going democratic. Stick with Pétain, though. Let's see. Oh, geez. So that's what Nestor looks like, huh? Moereich. Now, who is gonna... That's a terrific... I think that's a new portrait as well. Who is gonna win the Trade Union Congress, I wonder? We're hoping for radical socialists. If not, we're gonna have to kick these fools out. Revolutionary War wasn't enough, and we'll have to go over there and show them what for. I'm not saying everybody in the entire world's got to be radical socialist, but we want at least the big three to be that way, since that is the path we are going to be taking. It probably would be easier, in fact, it would be easier if we just stayed syndicalist with the CSA. There's Father Coughlin. Claims the syndicalist revolution in France was fermented by the Jew and that the Berlin stock market crash is an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers, and somehow people still tune in. His hate speech will not be tolerated by the church. Okay, so we're going to say Coughlin is a danger to the public. Shut him down. Papal States like us a bit more, but more importantly, radical socialism is up. So right now, let's take a look at this situation. The Totalists are only 1.77 popularity. The Socialist Party of America, under the Syndicalist branch of it, I should say. Cindy's... Wait, what? Oh, that's freaking awesome! Australasian Union. Hell yeah, let's go! Let's go, baby! And they can't go radical socialist for several years. It's really niche for them to do that, but that is freaking awesome. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, good start. Anyway, what was I talking about, though? I got just so distracted by that. That was so cool. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, we were trying to check out our own country, and these Radical Socialist branch is actually at 17.25%, because we've gotten a few things in a row boosting them, so very, very good. Meanwhile, the social liberals themselves are at 16%. The current party in power. Not good for them, not good. Who's in charge here? Pope Pius the 12th. Which one? Paternal autocrats, huh? What's with the crescent? I thought you were the Pope. St. Patrick's Day flood has happened. Worst disaster in the city's history. We must help the people. They will have to help themselves. Alright, let's keep going up to mechanical computing. Some good stuff happening. First International Congress is done. Germany get even bigger? I feel like this border with Denmark's even higher than it used to be. It's just me. It's been a little while since I did some Kaiserreich. Okay. Pilot training. Hopefully there's no serious bugs, though. It'll be interesting to see what happens down here in Arabia, because they've done a lot of changes here. So, allegedly, Jabal Shammar should win more often. In the AI, I mean, because if you go check out my Arabia guides, it is so easy to win as Jabal Shammar. It's no trouble at all. It's very, very easy. You can get it done 100% of the time. You don't need any RNG. But now I think there's been some decisions, but if the decisions have actually made it easier for Jabal Shammar, and it looks like geographically it's easier as well, should be seeing more of that. Okay, Soviet Russia versus Russia civil war has begun. One of the things they've changed is it's supposed to be much harder to put down the Soviet Union, the Soviet Russia. Which is not to say that they're going to win. In fact, I think it should continue to be that the Soviet... Basically, if you do the Soviet Civil War, it should be a landmark, just a huge, huge feather in your cap, a badge of honor if you manage to win, even if you get Finland's help. Just because the way the victory point spread works is you'll have to go deep, deep into Siberia, I think, before you're able to put them down. Just because their victory points become so spread out because the Soviets start with Moscow and Petrograd. But still, it should go longer, and it's a way of curbing Russia. Anyway, increasing radicalization, with the Democrats and Republicans fighting amongst themselves as usual. More and more Americans are feeling alienated from the traditional Big Two and are flocking to the radical AFP and SPA throughout the country. In these dark times, the distinction between genuine social reform and graft is hard to distinguish. Those under the radical banner in our political enclaves have received some social welfare. Share our wealth donations from the AFP and international red aid from the SPA. The party machine of these radicals utilizes mass media to a much stronger degree than either the Republicans or Democrats. It is looking more and more like the 1936 election will come down to reader long. -14 stability stuff. There's Bukharin, hatless but has a mic. All the better to propagandize with. And Vampire Dmitry Romanov is currently running the nation. AFP people are announcing bids. Stanley Cup, let's go. Detroit, 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 Detroit. Come on. Nope, Toronto wins. Toronto beats Detroit in a 4-game series. How embarrassing. 4 games, that's all it took. Harding here has some pink hair. There's also Smedley Butler, who, of course, we will read about later. Actually, I think his thing changes after... I think Butler's biography changes after you break away. So let's read his thing now. Born July 30th, 1881 in Westchester, Pennsylvania, United States of America. Smedley Darlington, the Fighting Quaker Butler, lied about his age and enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1898 to join the American force fighting the Spanish-American War. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant for his higher education and would be transferred to the recently captured Guantanamo after basic training. He didn't manage to see combat, as his company would soon return to the U.S., where he was reassigned to the USS New York, becoming a first lieutenant in April 1899. He was then transferred to the Philippines, where he mainly did garrison duty, although he took part in some engagements against the insurrectos. In 1900, he'd accompany Littleton Walker during the Boxer Rebellion, taking part in the Battle of Tianjin and the Ghastly Expedition, being wounded in the thigh for trying to rescue a fellow Marine, and earning a brevet promotion to captain. Afterwards, Butler would take part in the Banana Wars, first to Honduras to defend the American consulate in 1903, and to Nicaragua between 1903 and 1913, where he took part in breaking the siege of Granada. In the Battle of Masaya and the capture of Coyotepe Hill, he'd take part in the occupation of Veracruz in Mexico in 1914, earning his first Medal of Honor in combat and being promoted to major. He'd be transferred to Haiti, where he earned his second Medal of Honor for fighting the Caco Rebellion. He'd be transferred back to the United States, where he served garrison duties until being promoted to brigadier in 1921, In 1927, he was sent to China to take charge of the Marine Expeditionary Force in the legation cities, earning his promotion to Major General, returning to America in 1929, then competing and winning the role of Commandant in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1937. He earned the rank of general in 1935 amidst the rising tension of the Hoover administration, despite Butler's criticism of Hoover. He remains, however, as one of the most influential and decorated officers of the United States Marine Corps, and his influence should not be taken lightly. And that is why he is the BME, the best Marine ever. Here come all the chesty puller-aboos in the comments in 3, 2, 1. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder if anybody else has changed, like once we're actually at war. Like George Patton here. Wait, hold on a second. Dispersed industry. Where's Patton? Yeah, so like we got Patton here. Banned of military history books from a young age. Nominated for West Point. Performed excellently. You know, I don't have to read Patton's. Everybody knows. But important notes. Has displayed strong racist views in public. Special election in New Jersey. We will have the Democratic Party take that. Nothing that could in any way, shape, or form help the AUS. May Day riots. May Day, International Workers' Day, is a holiday that the Socialist Party celebrates with numerous parades and speeches and has since its founding. Okay, real quick. So, I remember last year, because we're coming up on May 1st again, now that I think about it. Last year, some people, I think it was in a Discord, or everywhere, just in Discord and in comments and stuff, people would go, they were like posting on my communist videos and stuff, they'd say, Happy May Day, consecrating history games. Here's the thing. I live in the United States of America. There is no May Day in the United States of America. And that was surprising to some people and not surprising to others. But if I... Okay, I'm trying to remember the exact wording of it, but May... hold on a second. May 1st is, I think, National Loyalty Day in the United States. And it was created as that in direct contrast to the May Day celebrations around the world. So there's no Workers' Day. There is a Labor Day. That's later in the year, though. But like, you know, and it's kind of ironic because if anything, May Day, you know, May 1st is more important in the United States than I would say in most countries, in the sense that that was the day of the infamous Haymarket Square Massacre. So that was when in Chicago there was a lot of workers who walked out. And they were striking so they can get an 8-hour workday. Then a bomb went off, and some people were killed, including cops, and they hanged some anarchists. But it's my understanding it was kind of flimsy, and I don't think it ever was definitively determined who set that off. And it's also my understanding that May Day celebrations, like around the world, or at least particularly in Europe, began as like in a sense of solidarity with the killings that had happened in Chicago, and yet in the United States, they don't celebrate it. So here it's Loyalty Day. so if you're wishing me a happy May Day, well, that doesn't mean anything in the United States. Moving on. Generally, things are peaceful, though there have been confrontations with the police. However, this time things are more violent than normal. Clashes between the socialists and the local police, backed up by the AFP, have occurred around the country. The question is, who is at fault? The socialists declare that things were peaceful until the police and the AFP goons arrived on the scene. The AFP are saying that the socialists began by assaulting ununionized workers and have blurry photos they claim are guns the SPA were brandishing. So we can say the SPA are at fault or the police are at fault. We are actually going to say the SPA are at fault. So the government is blaming the SPA, and that's going to increase the popularity of the radical socialists. I'm actually not quite so sure how much this is going to influence how popular the radical socialists are when the changeover happens. I just hope it does. Yeah. Hoover has solidified his position as one of the most hated men in American history. Let's see here. I was yesterday I was actually reading a bit of, because I'm a big fan of the Oxford History of the United States, which I think is still not done yet, but there's some really good ones in there. For example, highly recommend if you want to read about the United States during a time period that doesn't have anything to do with war, really, or I should say maybe it's bookended by wars, but like from the war at 18, in between War of 1812 and the U.S. War with Mexico. Definitely check out What Hath God Wrought, which is the name of that book. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning book. It's absolutely fantastic. But the one I was reading was Freedom from Fear. Costa Rica wants our assistance. They wanna bail out. We have more important matters to attend to. Wonder what is gonna happen down here. Come on, I think we need Sandino to take charge. That's what we need. Progressives flock to the SPA. Minnesota, wow, that is some cleavage. Minnesota, which has long been a bastion of the progressive Senator Floyd Olson, has finally flipped. Many people are turning away from Senator Olson in the direction of the IWW and the SPA. Various unions have held rallies for the SPA, and attendance far outstrips our ability to counter them. Something in the water? -3% social democracy, +3% to each branch of the SPA. Must be something in the water, because -3, add 9. That's some kind of freaky deaky socialist math. That's what that is. Annie Keeney. Oh, boy. That's not good. That is not good. The Union of Britain is going to be garbage now. Crap. Keeney is so bad. She's like the worst leader. They never get their military together under her. Plus, I think that she cannot sway Norway now. But, oh boy, what a wonderful world it would be if Soviet Russia can hang on until the war happens, then they could join the Third Internationale. Okay, special election in Washington. Of course, we want John F. McKay to win that. Death of Big Bill Haywood. Today, one of the titans of the industrial workers of the world, William Big Bill Haywood, has passed away. His death marks the passing of a torch. Elizabeth Gurley Flynn spoke at the funeral, saying, "History has a long-range perspective. It ultimately passes stern judgment on tyrants and probably should use a woman's voice, huh? And vindicates those who fought, suffered, were imprisoned, and died for human freedom against political oppression and economic slavery." Many other leaders within various union organizations, including his rivals in the AFL, also spoke at his funeral, as well as leaders within the Socialist Party of America. Jack Reed also spoke at the funeral, ending his speech with some of Haywood's quotes. "If the workers are organized, all they have to do is put their hands in their pockets and they have got the capitalist class whipped. A strike is an incipient revolution. Many large revolutions have grown out of a small strike. Remember that you are fighting more than your own fight. You are fighting for the entire working class, and you must stand together." I already miss him. Syndicalism gets more popular. I know this is Jack, but in this picture, she kind of just looks confused. Is that just me? By the way, I hope you guys like the thumbnail. I really struggled for a little while to decide which one of the logos I wanted on her beret. But I've got alternate versions. I'm probably going to upload them all to my Patreon. That's where I usually will upload like the wallpaper sizes of stuff. We're going to do Mobile Warfare. Yeah, that is the plan. And do we have time? Let's see. Let's try to think. What do I want to research now? Go for the light self-propelled artillery. Do I dare go medium tanks for once in my life? Let's at least pick up this. It's not gonna take long. Southern Democratic voters align with the AFP. What devious conmen. Then once again, there's that funky math. -3, then +9. Siam has its new constitution. You do a Siam game sometime. Are going with the Republic, it seems. Hey, maybe they'll defeat Soviet Russia and then they'll elect the Syndicalists in. I doubt it though. It's so expensive. I will say this though, at least right now with Soviet Russia's current tree, not that it's bad or anything. It's fun. It's perfectly fine for the AI. But if you want to be a strong Soviet Russia, or a syndicalist Russia, I should say, it's kind of almost better to just do the Russian Republic path, and then elect the syndicalists into power and get the syndicalist leader. Now it's very expensive. So for example, I think when you elect the syndicalist president, I think it's been a while since I played that, but I think it's a -300 or something. It's pretty rough. The negative. You know what you do when you get some planes going. Yeah, that's the ticket. Alright, this would usually be how long a normal episode is, but we're going to keep going. Let's check out some of the people around the world. There's Edward. Edward and the Kaiser. Guy is the South. Totalism, too bad. Red Summer. Number of lynchings that occurred throughout the country spiked during the summer. In response, the African Blood Brotherhood and other elements of SPA and CSA have begun arming and fighting back. The Socialist Party of America have defended their actions and have furnished blurry photos they claim show AFP members in lynch mobs. Can this year get any worse? You know, I always hear about, at least like in pop culture, I'll hear it on TV shows and movies and things, how like in northeastern cities, violence spikes whenever the temperature goes above 90 or something. And that's just so weird to me, because I was born and raised... Nice, more SPA members announcing congressional bids. Unprecedented number of people registering to run for office under the banner of the SPA, and just as many, if not more, nationwide, pledging to vote for them. Interesting. Okay. So Italy has gone Syndicalist. Freaking... What was I saying? But anyway, that's just so weird to me, because I was born and raised in El Paso, which, you know, a few updates ago, they finally let me a victory point. It ain't much, it's just 2, but come on, it was the Chicago of the Southwest during this time. It deserves it. To at least be labeled on the map. Sorry for any headphone users. Wait a minute. We're gonna go, yeah, over here. And, you know, it's triple digits constantly once you hit the summer, and yet it's been one of the safest cities in the country my entire life. I think, yeah, it's basically it's basically the #1 safest city all the time. Partly because those statistics don't count traffic accidents, but like the only time it's ever not #1 is when there's some sort of extreme measure. Like I remember New York became #1 one year, and there was some sort of like major change up or legislation that had happened in New York, so it just whipped it wildly, and then I think it turned out that people were juking the stats anyway. New Zealand crisis. A crisis appears to be deepening in the Australasian Union, as news organizations report a severing of ties between the Australasian state of New Zealand and the mainland. Support in New Zealand for the new syndicalist government has never been strong, and reports are that the state offered safe haven to New Guard paramilitary forces fleeing the mainland after failing to overthrow the Canberra government in a recent coup attempt. With portions of the Australasian Navy and Army already defecting to New Zealand, the prospect of war looms, one which, it is feared, may even draw the Entente into a final showdown with the Australasian Syndicalists. Did New Zealand ever end up getting its own tree yet? No. But I know a dev told me they want to do a New Zealand tree, and they also want to give the Australasians a social liberal... what is it? I think it's a social liberal path. That's the only path they don't have right now. That was a complex tree, though. Go check out my guide on that. That one's like an hour and a half long or something. Let's do some... What do we need to do? Battlefield support. Yeah, so these ones are going to be at war with New Zealand. Now, I think the way this works is once they take New Zealand, there's going to be a ticker. And basically, if the Entente does not defeat New Zealand, does not defeat the Union... Oh, wow. No, they're just isolated. I thought there was supposed to be something where the Entente goes to war with them, unless they've changed something. But it's like, if a certain amount of time passes, they'll just white peace out. There it is, yeah. So now they join the Entente. Now everybody's going to come in. But if Australasia takes it and holds it after a certain amount of time, they'll be good. You know, they're inviting British advisors, and eventually they will join. The Internationale. Okay, what's going on? All right. In a couple of days here, we should see the Indo-Chinese Revolt happen. First, the Battle of the Overpass. In Detroit, Michigan, the automotive capital of the world, Walter Reuther, and Richard Frankenstein, the leaders of the United Auto Workers Association, called a general strike against the Ford Motor Company and proclaimed themselves for unionism, not Fordism, demanding higher pay and fewer hours for automotive workers. At 2 p.m. today, a photographer from the Detroit Free Press asked to take a photo of the leaders of the UAW standing on the overpass with the Ford sign in the background. While they were posing, a group of 40 men from the Ford Service Department approached them from behind and began to beat them with their batons. The group then continued their attack on some of the beret-wearing women present to pass out leaflets. This will hurt us more than it hurt the unionists, so stability's down. We're at -40 and counting. 4% party popularity, -28 political power. It's just a joy here, and 5% war support. Okay, violence against politicians. Failed attempts on the lives of both Huey Long and Jack Reed have occurred in the past few months. Both gunmen shooting from a crowd, both failed, both resulted in higher security. Getting stabbed, whatnot. Not good. Not good. There it is. Indo-Chinese Union has busted open. We want them to win. Indochina declares independence. Win on Yin charge. I think it's Win. That's how it's pronounced. Win. Getting real interesting in the world. Yeah, Tibet. It's a very unique tree. Where's yeah, Nepal's looks pretty cool too. Huey Long speech. It's the high populorum, low populorum. Homely sayings do not win. There's wow, Republic of Iran, Social Democrats. You could have gone. Wait, they still could. They still could go socialist. Damn. This could be some good stuff happening in our world. Jeez, forgot the chesticles on the Saudis here. Maybe it's just the black. Makes them pop more. Let's see. Armenia. Wow, Armenia looks quite annoyed. I'd like to check out some of these. Georgia. It's supposed to represent blood on his hands, or her hands, the ribbon. Okay, let's see who wins this one. Oh, wait a minute. They lost Qatar. They lost Abu Dhabi. All right, I think the Saudis are going to win this. Oh, encirclement. Baby. Maybe not. Who's going to win? Representatives are retiring. Oops. Let's grab some bomber development, I guess. We're going to try to use these bonuses for ourselves here in a minute. Okay, cool. Some of the stuff is done. Now, I know this is also making the U.S. stronger in some ways, but we'll just whoop their asses anyway. In case you think, wait a minute, conquering history games, maybe the U.S. is going to be strong and beat you now. I'll just beat them instead. That's the plan. That's secret plans. That's like Greg Popovich with the Spurs. It's like, what's your secret plan? Oh, you know, I got a little something. It just got written on a notepad. Start Derek White. 5D chess going on. All right, let's come over here now. And wait a minute, did we not? Weren't we supposed to get a research bonus for battlefield support? What the hell? Whatever, just take that anyway. And we will also what do we want? Maintenance companies? No, industry is much more important.
Ready to move.
Same. Yeah, I'm just looking around, seeing what kind of people. This is one of my favorites. Zhang Zulong, terrific. Just the detailing and the metals and the shoulder braids. A little bit annoyed how it just seems to be shoulder length, because then you can actually see some arm skin there. But great pose, great hair. This is definitely one of my favorites. Violence between the SPA and the AFP in a number of major cities. Conflicts between supporters of the America First Party and the Socialist Party have broken out in violence. Partisan fistfights and even shootouts have started to become a regular occurrence throughout the country as the country spirals ever deeper into chaos. While public eruptions are easy to counter, the enclaves these radicals have cut out of city blocks run on graft are harder to stop. This is just not our year. Okay. Who else is out here? Huh. Gas, Adolf. Totalists in charge over here in Poland. Hey, it's turning into some kind of red world. There's the actual vampire. Greece is a little plain. Gee, speaking of chesticles, maybe it's the tie, but damn. Got here. How about Sweden? Yep, Queen Saber. Oh, freaking gas Ankini. That is such a pain. And unless Jabal can get in here. Oh, maybe. Wow. Still looks like it could go either way. This is another cool looking one. With the veil. I don't know what causes that effect. It's probably just like an opaqueness thing, but right, Air Defense Corps for sure. Check out South America. What do we got here? The Patagonian Workers Front. Marmaduke Grove. Named after the dog, obviously. We're gonna have their election here soon. 2 days, Brazil will. What, how about the West Indies? Looks very mad. Cuba. Got here, Panama. I said Panama. Whoa, that is a really different one. Costa Rica. We got Nicaragua. Socialist Republic of Honduras. Okay. Let's just check these last two out. Trujillo and Borno. Okay, 1936 presidential election. The results are finally in from what has probably been the most ideologically contested presidential election the United States has ever witnessed. None of the four major parties have secured enough votes in the Electoral College to outright win the presidency. And as a result, the House of Representatives once again has to vote on the winner of the election. This is probably not the end of our problems. For the time being, victory goes to, well, I'll let you guys guess. And I'll see you next time. I am Conquering History Games. Please subscribe if you have not already. If you want to support the channel, check out the link in the description below to my Patreon. Remember, if you donate at least $5 a month or more, you can actually pick a guide for me to do, because I know people love to see them guides. I'm working on a couple of Kaiser Reich ones right now. I'm actually going to go finish that up and then carry on with this. But I'll see you then. Goodbye.
Why we for slumber America, land of brave and true, with castles and clothing and food for all belong to you. Every man a king, or you can be a millionaire, but there's something belonging to others, there's enough for all people to share. Whether it's sunny June and December too, or in the winter time or spring, there'll be peace without end every